our socials at KBLA 1580.
We've got a lot to talk about.
By the way, if you miss any of our weekday shows in real time, you can always catch up by checking out the podcasts of your favorite shows at your leisure. At KBLA Talk 1580, we've got your black.
Follow the leader.
Oh my God.
Follow the leader. Follow the leader. Follow the leader. Follow the leader. Follow the leader.
You were locked into RSVP with Jill Munroe here on KBLA Talk 1580. Shout out to Michael Jackson. Happy birthday, MJ. Always and forever. You know, I mean, listen, you got to be graced by Michael's presence. You got to get advice from him on performing. What did he say to you about performing?
Practice makes perfect. That's what he wrote, like on the 8x10 that he gave us to the Neutrons. He was like, just remember that practice makes perfect.
So the grind. Put in the grind.
Yep.
So before we came forward, we were talking about you being at MCA Records, and you were explaining to us how Ron Newt was the first Suge Knight and was thugging on the MCA Records label employees and such, and kind of not letting them do your job. Was that rough on you as a kid going through that circumstance, or did you even understand?
I absolutely understood. And how do I put this? The Neutrons was kind of my thing. Like, you know what I mean? Like, literally, I was the lead singer.
So the Neutrons, once again, was you, your twin brother Ronnie,
and
Jay
Well,
Jay
he's now
Valentine.
Jay Valentine, right? At the time, he's 10 though. So
Right.
I'm 15. Ronnie's 15. And I'm the lead singer. So, like, when we have studio sessions, I'm like Ralph Tresvant. I'm singing all the stuff. You know what I mean?
You're singing the backups. You're singing the ad-libs.
Yeah, absolutely. So, and the reason why I said that is because when Ron
It was
knew,
your dream.
It was my dream. And so every time he's going against the machine, I'm like, man, what are you doing? You know what I'm saying? But of course, he's my dad, and he's also a gangster. So what am I going to do? I'm 15.
Right.
You know what I mean? It's like, dude, be quiet, basically. You know what I'm saying? Well, not in that way, but worse. So when they went up to the label, when he actually went back to jail, this is all stuff that's going to be in the movie anyway, so we can't go too deep. But they got sick of him. He went up after the song didn't go the way, and he knew they kind of sabotaged it because he was being gangster with them.
They didn't want that as the single.
Exactly. And because he wasn't following protocol. He was doing whatever he wanted to do. And they had to remind him, we're the machine. Like, if we don't want it to happen, it doesn't happen. And so that's why I want a lot of the Neutron fans to know, like, listen, it wasn't that the Neutrons ain't have it. It was that Ron Newt went against the machine, and then the machine sabotaged us. Not to mention he had us dressed like pimps. If we'd have been dressed like kids and we would have came out with an up-tempo single, it would have been different.
So, and when Ron Newt went to the label and caused some commotion and havoc, and they called the police on him, and that took him out of the mix.
He went back to jail. He went back to the penitentiary. And when that happened, they hired us a new manager, George Smith, who was Pebble's manager, and everything was smooth. They loved it. They set us, so now we're getting ready.
In the machine, Brooke Payne, you were mentioning with your
we had Brooke
choreographer.
Payne the whole time. Yeah.
Okay.
But now,
shout out to those steps in my heart.
Silas is now able to do his job as an A&R artist. Ron Newt did the whole album pretty much. Didn't let Lil do his job.
Did Tank play? No, Dwayne Martin played Lil. Who played Lil Silas in the New Edition
Tank
movie?
played Gerald Busby.
Okay.
Dwayne Martin played Lil Silas.
Okay.
Yeah. So Lil gets to do his job now as we're starting to work on our second album. We're now dressed like kids, like we're wearing the hockey jerseys, like we look like kids. And we're also working with Spider-Man and Fraser, who had just did Poison.
For BBD.
Yeah, and the record that we had was nuts. And so, you know what I mean? Like, we just knew that it was about to jump off. Like, and because the thing about it is, like, we also wanted to be kids. So we was, you know, we wasn't happy that our dad was in jail, but we was happy that the label was getting to do their job.
Right.
You know what I mean? And then it just wasn't to be. That's, you know, we're literally in the studio. We've just recorded 2 or 3 new records that are crazy. Everybody's excited. And we actually had a session that day. The session ended up getting canceled because the engineer's family or his mom or dad got sick. So the session got canceled, and my twin went out and robbed a store and got himself killed.
So talk a little bit about that, because this goes back to our earlier thing. So you guys had a major label deal, right? You were in the studio working on your new stuff, but we, you know, time and time again, we hear about industry politics, about the grind that comes with working in the music industry, and the money comes later. So with your father gone, that also means the head of the household,
The breadwinner's gone.
was out of the house. So your twin took it upon himself,
Right.
to want to try and hold things down.
Well, also, you're from LA. People that aren't from LA, or maybe people from LA, do the same thing. It's like keeping up with the Joneses. So we had this big house in Diamond Bar. We had all these cars. We had nice clothes and stuff, but we didn't have no money. And like we have a record deal. Like, you know, all our friends are like, yo, like,
What's up?
yeah, you know what I mean? So literally, you know, we from the streets anyway. And so music is what kept us out of the streets. And so we always had flashes of it, though. You know what I mean? Like, we carried dope. You know what I mean? Just all the different things with our father. And so literally my twin used to hang with my dad. And so when he went to jail, he just hooked up with the next thing that
reminded him of his dad.
Yes.
Of your dad.
And that was gangbangers. And they started robbing stuff, and yeah, like he robbed the store and the Korean dude killed him.
So that happened here in not in LA, out in San Bernardino in 1991, May 1st, 1991. Yeah. So that obviously took a great deal of a toll on you. That is your fraternal twin. And that's a lot to go through for anybody, but your twin, someone you literally came into this world with, and it also, you know, killed to a degree your dream for music at that time. When we come forward, we will get into what you did next and how you found your testimony with God and your story from that point on. And shout out to Urban Spinster, because she knows all the history. She said Ron Newt got set up to go back to prison, allegedly. So she has all the scoop. You were locked into art.
Who is this person?
She's what? Listen, there are documentaries online, as she mentioned. There's a lot of information. There's this Vlad TV interviews, so there's a lot of information where you can go and find out about the Newt family, Ron Newt, and their story. But we're getting it straight from the horse's mouth. You're locked into RSVP with Jill Munroe here on KBLA Talk 1580.
Trending topics and the hottest happenings. You're listening to RSVP with Jill Munroe on KBLA Talk 1580.
Dominique DePrima, KBLA Talk 1580. One of the most important details of running a business is managing cash flow. In fact, it's key to maintaining your company's health. Putting cash flow management before profits using dedicated software can help you drill down to the details that let you see the bigger picture. Having that clearer outlook makes for a stronger business. Whatever your business's financial goals, U.S. Bank Access Commitment Initiatives can help support you in reaching them. Access your financial goals at usbank.com/access. Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
I'm David Goldberg, a bilingual elementary school teacher and president of the California Teachers Association. As we start a new school year, there's something new happening in California's public schools. They're called community schools, where families, students, educators, and communities are making decisions as one.
As a parent, I feel like we're really valued as partners in the education system.
Community schools are bridging the systems of academics with the community.
The curriculum is designed around the students and their academic needs. I know community schools are working. We see it in parent involvement. We see it in student academics.
We saw double-digit gains in math, English, and reading scores.
It's a more innovative, holistic approach to educating students.
I really feel like this is the first time that we're really seeing a system change in our school.
It's innovative, fresh, and they're already working.
We invite you to learn more about community schools as we come together to reimagine public education here in California. And that's why CTA brought you this message.
I'm Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. I learned about atrial fibrillation the hard way. My symptoms would come and go: shortness of breath, fatigue. I kept going. Then I got so lightheaded, I couldn't. My doctor said I have AFib, so I'm about 5 times more likely to have a stroke. Other symptoms: irregular heartbeat, heart racing, chest pain can come and go, but the risk of stroke stays. If you have symptoms, tell a doctor. Visit notimetowait.com.
Sponsored by Bristol-Myers Squibb and Pfizer.
She's so smooth, so... I'm interrupting my own shower to remind you to treat your skin like the queen she is with Olay Hyaluronic Body Wash, packed with Olay's highest level of vitamin B3 complex. It's so moisturizing that it will give you visibly smoother, head-turning skin in just 14 days. People wondering, how'd she get so smooth? Olay Hyaluronic Body Wash. Also, try Olay Hyaluronic Body Lotion.
Mom's early Alzheimer's diagnosis was hard to take.
And when I left the oven on, we decided together that it was time to see a doctor and make a plan.
Early detection gave us more time to seek out information and support as a family.
If you or your family are noticing changes, it could be Alzheimer's. Talk about seeing a doctor together. For more information, visit alz.org/time to talk. A message from the Alzheimer's Association and the Ad Council.
Hey, keeping you informed, entertained, and always ahead of the curve. This is RSVP with Jill Munroe on KBLA Talk 1580.
Okay. Okay, Dean.
First time that I saw you, girl. Come on, Neutrons.
So I was trying to sing like Johnny Gill.
Were you?
Yeah. You hear me trying to sing like I got a deep voice?
You're straining. Yeah, you definitely didn't have a deep voice.
But I just was.
You should have been getting your Bobby DeBarge on.
Oh yeah, sure.
Here comes Jay.
That fella was tough.
Right? Don't let it go a little bit more. Come on, Jay Valentine. Hit those high notes. You are locked in to RSVP with Jill Munroe here on KBLA Talk 1580. In studio with me, Bobby Newt. That was his, well, not your first single, but your first single on MCA with the Neutrons. My Heart Beats For You. 1990, sleeper cut, but people love it.
Oh yeah, no,
they're really passionate about it.
Some diehard.
The ones that know, and are really locked in. So you were sharing with us how your brother Ronnie was killed, and that sort of ended the group for you. You guys were dropped from your label, right?
Yep. They dropped us.
They sent you a buyout.
Yep.
Urban Spinster says Bobby was looking like Bobby Brown with your shirt off in the video.
Yeah, I wanted to be I don't know if the people that was Neutron fans, like when we did videos, so I proclaimed myself the new sex symbol. I was like, Chris.
You said that?
Christopher Williams, you finish. Bobby Brown, you finish.
It was all about you.
Yeah.
Okay.
I was the new Bobby.
Confident. So you were out there putting it down, letting them know.
Yeah.
And so obviously this tragedy happens. And so what did you do after that? What happened?
After that, and I say this all the time, like, I think as a community, especially of black people, we don't deal with tragedy correctly. Meaning, like, we don't go get help.
We don't know how to deal with grief.
Therapy.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
it's like taboo for us. And so probably I should have, because not only did he get killed, but I saw it.
Yeah, because there was videotape.
It was on hard copy.
It was on hard copy. It ran on the news.
Yes.
The news was at your front door.
Yeah. So
right?
I watched my twin be killed on TV, and it was absolutely devastating. It's not something that anybody, especially not a 15-year-old, and definitely not somebody that we came together. We came in this world together. And so for me, there was such a loneliness that I just didn't know how to deal with, coupled with, my mom. He died on my mom's watch because my dad was in the penitentiary, and just she was so devastated, and me and her were super close. And I just didn't know how to deal with it. So I just delved into women. Like I'm 15, so I'm not drinking.
16.
I'm not doing drugs. Oh, 16, right. I'm 16, so I'm not doing drugs. I'm not drinking. Most people mask, with some type of addiction, and my addiction had already started. It was women. And so that's the way that I dealt with the pain. That was my medicine. And so that was the way I kind of tore up my life. And so by the time I was 23, I had 5 kids with 4 different women. And I was living like, that's the other thing.
On the edge?
Not necessarily on the edge, but I was living for the moment because my twin died and we were so close. I didn't think I was going to live to be 25. I don't know why, but I was just living in the moment. There was no plan. There was no 5-year plan. There was no, you know what I mean? I lost my twin. I lost my record deal. Like, all these things happened. We went from living in a big house in Diamond Bar to back in the projects in San Francisco within 3 months maybe? And so that part was devastating too. Cause you go back to your stomping ground. Everybody like, wait, we just saw you on Soul Train. Like, what are you doing?
What's going on?
What are
right.
you doing back here? You know what I mean? I mean, they kind of knew because
they knew
also
what
knew what
happened
happened to
right.
my twin too. So those things were all devastating. Now I'm back on the bus. Like, I'm bound. These are things that people don't know. Like, cause me and Jay I'm 16 and Jay's 11, and we ain't got no money. Like, Ron Newt, has spent up the money, and whatever we had, we didn't have. You know what I mean? And so literally, I just, like I said, I mastered pain with women and sex. And that went on for a while, even until I was probably about just trying to find myself and thinking I'm going to be this R&B star, even taking a chance with Death Row.
You guys were signed to Death Row for how long?
Maybe a year.
Okay.
It's the craziest thing ever. We actually auditioned in the penitentiary. Like,
for Suge?
Yes.
Okay.
When you go in the penitentiary, you walk in a circle. And so me, Jay, and my dad went up there. We had to bring my dad back in the picture.
I was about to say, did they let your dad in? You brought your dad back in.
They let him in.
Okay. You brought your dad back in because Suge was a gangster, and you didn't want to get into that situation without the protection.
We want to match gangster with gangster, yep. So we go up there. We're walking in the circle. I'm singing, and Suge signs me on the spot. Like, he already knew who Jay was because Damon Thomas from the Underdogs we was writing songs. We were already writing songs for Michelet.
Right, you guys wrote for Michelet. Yeah. Jay went on with the Underdogs. He wrote what for NSYNC, Celebrity.
Well, no, he did that on his own with him and Wade Robinson. But
okay,
he wrote "I Like Them Girls" for Tyrese. I think there was some other records too.
Just a bunch of stuff. He was signed to J Records.
He was the start of Underdogs. Him and him and Damon, like, we were doing stuff way before the Underdogs. I got my first placement on Coco from SWV.
That's right.
So hard to say goodbye.
Okay. Leslie Holmes in the chat says, thank you, Bobby, for sharing your wisdom, honest and true talk about the hows and whys of R&B and soul music's decreased profile. You are God's precious gem to the industry.
Oh, wow. Thank you so much.
So you were womanizing. You said you had 5 children by 23. What was, I guess, your next wake-up call that you needed to turn your light? You signed with Death Row for a year. You got your dad back involved. What was the moment?
That was it. Like, literally. So we went up there. Suge said he was gonna do stuff different. He didn't. He got out. We driving around. I'm talking about now. It's like, I ain't signed up for this. In fact, like, our dad had put us in music so we wouldn't be gangsters. But obviously, if you rolling with Suge, it's
some gangster stuff.
Yeah, we would. I'm talking about, we got all the Bloods, we got all the Crips, we got the Police, we got the Booyah Tribe. We rolling 60 deep everywhere we go. We looking for Snoop Dogg. We looking for, I mean, I ain't looking for nobody. I'm just in the car.
You're just in the vicinity.
Right, thinking that I'm at the duck at any time. Like, you know what I mean? And then people started getting killed. And so when people start getting killed, but I still think about it like I was willing to go that far. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm like, dang. Like, but I'm thinking, let's skip the middleman. There's no A&R now. I'm dealing right with the owner. And literally, Jimmy Iovine and everybody had kind of told Suge, like, if you get out and do the right thing, everybody's going to rock with you.
Right.
But he couldn't help himself. You know what I mean? And so we cut a lot of records. Like, we were, you know what I'm saying? We were in the studio. I'm like, Suge, do it. Like, it was the Death Row way. Like, we would book out studios.
Did you have a Death Row chain?
Of course I had a Death Row chain. But let me tell you what's crazy about that. Like, with the LA politics, right? Like, you know, I'm a Bay dude. So I didn't know. I would be in clubs. I would be with my Death Row chain on, not knowing that there was a bounty on those chains.
Okay.
I had no idea.
Okay.
And people would be with me like, yo.
Tuck your chain.
No, people, well, I'm not tucking no chain. But
you weren't tucking your chain?
Absolutely not.
Okay.
And people, but my you know, my guys would be with me and they'd be like, yo, these guys is looking funny, let's rock. And we would leave. But I didn't know, you know what I'm saying? Like that was even happening. I'm oblivious to it because I'm not from here. I'm from the Bay. Like, I know when it's weird in the Bay, you know what I mean? But here, it was different. So anyway, that was kind of the breaking point. Like, I would probably have 4 or 5 girlfriends at the same time. I had money. I had girls giving me money. I had, you know, a Jaguar. So the Death Row starter kit. He gave you a chain,
a car,
a V12,
a V12 car,
a V12 car.
Okay.
I had a Jag, and a monthly
a monthly stipend.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, but me and Jay were both supposed to sign for $150,000 a piece. That never happened.
Okay.
So because that never happened, like, we never signed. Like, we were there for a year on the Death Row starter kit. We going to the studio. Jay quit before me. I'm still hanging out with Suge in Vegas. Like, I'm with whatever at this point. Like, I am literally, and that's what it was. Like, I had gone to my end, like trying to be an R&B star, mess with as many women as I could. Like, I was 28 at this point, and I'm off of Death Row. He takes his car back. The homie want his chain back.
you took your chain back. You had to give up the chain.
I had to give up the chain and the keys, and then stipend stopped. And so, at that point, I got like 5 girlfriends, and one of my homeboys was like, "Man, you got to try something different," because I was really going through something. Like, I was really, the anxiety was, I couldn't even sleep. Like, according to the world, I was doing cool. I had a nice car. I had nice clothes. I'm talking Rodale Drive clothes. I had, you know what I'm saying, D&G. I had, you know what I'm saying, those. I was doing it.
You were fly.
Yes, I was fly. But I could not, and I had 4 or 5 bad little things, you know what I mean? But
4 or 5?
Yeah, at the same time.
How does one balance 4 or 5?
We gotta have energy. I mean, they call me Bobby the Bunny. That's one of my nicknames, the Bunny.
What?
Ted calls me the Bunny because I'm
okay.
I'm an Energizer Bunny. Like, the kind of energy I have, if you could bottle it up, you could sell it.
Okay.
So I had gone as far as I could go, though. Like, literally, I'm doing all this, and in the world standards, it would seem like you would be happy, but I wasn't. I was really, actually really depressed, and I didn't know that I was depressed and feeling anxiety still from my twin, I'm sure, and all these things. And one of my boys was like, "Yo, you gotta try something different. Like, you tried the world. Try something different. Like, you gotta try church." And, you know, I mean, I'm from the hood. I'm like, man, I ain't going to no church. But literally, the only way I could go to sleep was to pray. And so I knew that. And then finally, I walked in that church, and everything changed. I walked in there, and I knew I was supposed to be there. I got saved. Me and my girlfriend at the time started going there, became a part of it, got in the choir. The pastor was like, "Yo, y'all can't be," it was an accountability church. He was like, "Yo, y'all can't be shacking up in my church if y'all gonna be singing in the choir." So that's how marriage came up.
Okay.
But also, I had never been faithful to a woman in my entire life. And I was able to be faithful to this woman for a year before we got married. That was from 29 to 30.
Okay.
And so that was 19 years ago. I've been faithful to her ever since.
So you guys have been married ever since. So basically, God changed your life.
At 30, I got married, yeah.
And when did you decide that you wanted to switch your music focus from secular to gospel?
Well, I'm a songwriter. And if you're a songwriter, you should be authentic.
Okay.
And so I couldn't be like, "Oh, I'm in the club. Oh, I'm on all these girls." Like, that wasn't my life no more. And so R&B kind of, when that character died, R&B died with it for me. You know what I mean? But I mean, I guess my gospel, I mean, there's always, R&B lives in me. So there's always going to be, my gospel is not the normal, you know, contemporary gospel. It's more street. It's more urban. It's, you know what I'm saying? It's more gritty. So it's in there, but.
The subject matter.
Yeah. When they say the old man dies and there's a new man born. Mm-hmm. So when the new man was born, now I write about what I used to do and how God changed me, and I glorify him for that. And so, and I talk about, you know, the testimony. I talk about my twin passing. I talk about the pain. I talk about the tragedy. But the beauty of it all is where I was and where God has me now. You know, now I got 8 kids. I do have 8 kids, but me and my wife have 3 kids.
So you have 3 kids with your wife and 5
adult kids.
5 adult children.
I have 5 adult kids, and me and my wife have 3 kids, and we only have 3 kids because I didn't want to be selfish to my wife. I mean, we had 1, but she wanted to have more. I'm old. I'm an old man. Like, you don't want to just be out here having kids no more. You know what I'm saying? You people know if you 40, you late 40s, and you had a kid, you ain't got the same patience. You're more mature, but you don't have the same patience.
It doesn't work that way.
No.
So Urban Spinster in the chat says, what does the recruitment look like on that on the death row starter kit? Basically, like, you know, what did it look like giving all that stuff up? Was it violent? Was it peaceful? How did that go down? Leslie Holmes says, praise God. Thank you, Jesus.
So actually, I had somebody ride with me because we didn't know what it was going to be. He's like, oh, yeah, the homie wanted his chain back. And we know if he was upset or, you know, Sugar's done weird stuff in the past. But my dad was also a giant in the streets. So that kept, for her, that kept us protected.
Kept you guys in the safe
Absolutely.
space. So when we come forward, we're going to talk a little bit about one of your old friends, Tyrese, and his comments about his ex-wife. And we're also going to get more into your testimony because you have, like we mentioned, you're putting out gospel music independently. And as Urban Spencer mentioned, there are some things that have happened recently that you have testified to about God still working his way in your life through that. So we'll get into all of that and more. You are locked into RSVP with Jill Munroe here on KBLA Talk 1580. A little early.
My best, so take nothing less. You're that special girl, redeemed into my world. You're one of a precious kind. Your love is in a state of mind. My heart beats for you.
Infusing a sense of fun and entertainment in every episode. You're listening to RSVP with Jill Munroe on KBLA Talk 1580. More when we come forward.
I'm Esther Dillard, and here's the latest from the Black Information Network. The University of North Carolina grad student accused of killing a faculty member is being held without bond.
The suspect is facing felony charges of first-degree murder and possession of a firearm on educational property.
UNC Black Police Chief Brian James says the suspect made his first court appearance Tuesday. Monday's deadly shooting at the university triggered a campus-wide lockdown that lasted for 3 hours. The faculty member who was killed was identified as Associate Professor Gigi Yang, who also served as the accused gunman's academic advisor. Meanwhile, Hurricane Idalia is gaining strength. The advisory by the National Hurricane Center says maximum sustained winds slightly increased to 90 miles per hour, which means it will remain a Category 1 for now. And that's the latest. I'm Esther Dillard from the Black Information Network and BINnews.com.
Score big on sleep and savings during Mattress Firm's best sale of the year. Save up to $700 on select Tempur-Pedic adjustable beds, and get a $300 instant gift. Good towards pillows and more.
Follow the leader. KBLA Talk 1580. Follow the leader.
If you're not following KBLA Talk 1580 on all of our socials, then you're missing out. Download our app and find us on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, and on the web at KBLA 1580.
That's right.
Again, you can find all of our socials at KBLA 1580.
We've got a lot to talk about.
By the way, if you miss any of our weekday shows in real time, you can always catch up by checking out the podcast of your favorite shows at your leisure. At KBLA Talk 1580, we've got your black.
Got your black. Keep following the leader.
Oh my God.
Follow the leader. Follow the leader. Follow the leader. Follow the leader. Follow the leader.
You're listening to K-Drip, where we play all the best classic water-wasting hits like Watering Your Lawn During the Hottest Time of the Day and Leaky Faucets. They're tunes from another time because now that we face a hotter, drier future, every drop counts. Despite an extremely wet winter, keep using less water, fixing leaks, and reusing indoor water for your garden. Visit SaveOurWater.com for more ways to conserve. Up next, brushing your teeth with the water on. K-Drip.
KBLA Talk 1580.
We've got a lot to talk about.
KBLA Talk 1580, connecting you with services and solutions. South Central Youth Empowered Through Action is the youth component of the impactful CBO, known as the Community Coalition. South Central Youth Empowered Through Action has chapters at almost every South LA high school. Say Yeah, as they are popularly known, is located at 80th and Vermont, but serves young people all over South LA. Under the COCO umbrella, they train youth organizers, help underserved scholars prepare for college, and work with students to help them gain admission to top universities. South Central Youth Empowered Through Action fosters teen activism, where young people have led campaigns moving tens of millions of dollars to South LA schools and forcing officials to make AP classes available to students in under-resourced institutions. SCEL scholars have taken part in the March on Washington, been published in major news outlets, and been elected to city council. Long before she was mayor, Karen Bass started the program when she founded the Community Coalition. To donate, volunteer, or enroll a student in South Central Youth Empowered Through Action, please visit cocsouthla.org. cocsouthla.org. This is a community call to action from KBLA Talk 1580.
Dominique DePrima here. Having a good credit score is one critical step to obtain a loan to buy a home. But did you know that your credit score is just one factor in getting a mortgage loan? Think about this. Lenders also consider your income, your employment history, current monthly debts, the size of the loan, and the amount of your down payment. Whatever your financial goals, U.S. Bank Access Commitment Initiatives support you in reaching them. Access your personal financial goals at usbank.com/access. Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
KBLA Talk 1580.
We've got a lot to talk about.
KBLA Talk 1580 joins you in standing for voting rights. When We All Vote is a leading national nonpartisan initiative on a mission to change the culture around voting and to increase participation in each and every election by helping to close the race and age gap. Created by Michelle Obama, When We All Vote brings together individuals, institutions, brands, and organizations to register new voters across the country and advance civic education for the entire family and voters of every age to build an informed and engaged electorate for today and generations to come. When We All Vote empowers their supporters and volunteers to take action through voting, advocating for their rights, and holding their elected officials accountable. Please visit whenweallvote.org to stand up for your rights, voting rights. This is a community call to action from KBLA Talk 1580.
KBLA Talk 1580. Talk radio. That's music to your ears. We're unapologetically progressive. KBLA Talk 1580. curating the most compelling stories and delivering them straight to your ears. You're listening to RSVP with Jill Munroe on KBLA Talk 1580.
I guess so. Andy be fine. Keeps my playlist popping.
I know I ain't supposed to hit and double back, cause I don't get down like that. But I'm gonna. I know I ain't supposed to let her push my whip and stun in front of my chicks, but I'm gonna.
Shout out to Jay Valentine. She's worth the trouble. Come on. Let me tell you really quickly, you guys attended the Legacy Tour, and I certainly did at the Forum. Jay Valentine and Tank had that rockin' early. You know, I appreciated it. We shout out to that. You are locked into RSVP with Jill Munroe here on KBLA Talk 1580. My guest, Bobby Newt. The chat is really feeling this conversation. They're really feeling you. Leslie Holmes says, praise God, thank you, Jesus. She wants to know where she can find your praise and worship music. She said, please tell us where we can find it. Thank you.
Everybody just go. You can find it on Apple. Also, that's Bobby Newt on Apple. And also, you can find me on Spotify. Follow me. You get all my new stuff that's coming out. I got a lot of music. I actually been working on my gospel stuff for 10 years.
Okay.
So I got so many new songs coming.
Ready to hit it. Troy H says, my favorite song by Jay Valentine, She's Worth the Trouble. Because we are all worth the trouble. Shout out to that. So we were talking about your testimony and how God basically has guided you. Guided as far as the type of music you perform, the other things that you're doing. As was mentioned by Urban Spinster, you recently have gone through another tragedy. It's been online. It's what she mentioned. I'll turn it over to you.
Yeah. So it's been challenging. It's another obviously another trial that we went through. So there's been obviously there was my twin at 16. Then my mom died at 49. And then my dad died in 2019. And December 17th of last year, most of the people know who follow me, my daughter was actually shot in the head involved in a road rage incident on the 101. And I just want to say thank you to everybody who prayed, the thousands and thousands of people that prayed, the warriors, because we know that God answers prayers. We know that God is still in the miracle business, because they told us that Ronnie wasn't going to make it through the night. And not only did Ronnie make it through the night, Ronnie has passed every test pretty much with flying colors. That's how we know God is involved. They told us it was catastrophic. They told us to stop care. But me and her mother we chose God instead. We chose to believe in the supernatural. We chose to pray. And God answered those prayers. Ronnie is still making progress. Ronnie is awake. Ronnie is moving her limbs. Ronnie is eating. She's overcome so many things. She's an absolute warrior. But again, I just want to continue to say thank you to everybody that prayed. And thank you, God, and thank you, Jesus, because I've now seen a miracle, and my faith cannot be shaken because of it.
You can check out the Love Ronnie Simone, loveronniesimone.com. That is her foundation.
Yes.
For more on that, and if you want to get involved and hear more about her story, look into that. So, moving forward, what are your thoughts right now? Like we said, you have an independent gospel project that you are about to put out. You're working on a lot of things. Your brother is in the mix. When you look back over all of the circumstance of your life and kind of where it has brought you, what is the overarching theme that stands out for you?
I'd say the overarching theme that stands out for me is that this is what God had for me from the beginning. I'm now living in my purpose. I thought I told you I saw Motown 25. I thought I wanted to live Michael Jackson's dream. I thought that I wanted to be the biggest, R&B star in the world. I thought I wanted to be just this idol. And I say this all the time when I do interviews. You talked about that. I look at the artists that were signed to MCA when I was. They don't look like I do. And I'm not being like arrogant, or I'm just saying the lifestyle, whether it be drugs, whether it be alcohol, whether it be late nights, too many women, just living hard. I feel like God has absolutely preserved me for what I'm doing now. Okay. Preserved me so I can, tell my testimony. Preserved me so that I relate. You know what I mean? He kept me fresh. If you look at me, I was signed at the same time as Jodeci. Guy. New Edition is a little older than me.
Right.
But
Mary.
Yeah. But if you look at those artists, especially, they had hits. They had, you know what I mean? They lived that life. They lived the life that I wanted. And I'm only saying that there are two roads. There's a broad road and there's a narrow road. And I believe God had the narrow road for me. And it's not for me to be famous like that. It's for me to make, and I don't know if you can, but it's for me to push the word of God. You know what I mean? And to use my testimony to bless and influence others to come to Christ and let them know that God's power is real and that you really can change. You know what I mean? With prayer and faith.
Well, shout out to your testimony. Shout out to your prayer and faith and, continued perseverance through all of this. We're going to change gears a little bit because I think that you might need to, get in a word with God for your homie Tyrese.
What did Tyrese do now? What did
Tyrese
he do now?
is very.
Is this new? What did he do?
This is new.
Okay.
We're gonna play it. Tyrese has been very vocal on social media about this next round of child support from his most recent ex-wife. We heard about what was going on with the first daughter and the famous, "What do you want from me?" and the tears. So he's having a similar circumstance, and so he feels that his second wife was not his second wife, his first wife, second child's daughter, because I don't believe he was married to Norma, not sure. But he doesn't believe that she was honest in her intentions to be with him. And he's saying that, he has a warning or some advice for any men that are potentially interested in dating his ex-wife. Do we have that, Andy? The other one. Okay. This one is actually, so there's a couple, because Tyrese talks and he has a lot going on. So in this one, he was discussing, he has a new song out called Love Transaction, and it's about his ex-wife, and his new girl. So basically, well, we're going to listen to it because I feel like I'm doing it a disservice.
I felt like my whole marriage was just a big fucking joke, just a transaction. Got married to do it for the rest of my life, but I guess it was all a game to her. So it is what it is. Where I feel sad, where I feel confused, where I slip in and out of these places sometime, it's the love that y'all continue to give me that means the world to me. And I think what I know about music, or what I know about art, what I know about poetry, is when you create art from a real place, when you do it from the heart, that's when it affects hearts. So I'm just grateful. I know my divorce has been playing out for the world to see. I know I done moved on, I'm in another situation, that I'm in love with this girl and I'm with her. But reality is reality. First of all, y'all are bullies. All of y'all are bullies. Okay? I'm over here like, I'm not releasing my album this year. I'm gonna push it back. And all this love and all this energy, y'all are forcing me to do some shit I don't want to do. I did not even want to release a second single. And y'all have forced me to do it. And so now it's out. It's live. Love transaction. Tyrese love transaction.
So, you know, that's one thing. He is appealing the decision to pay $20,000 in child support. There are also $636,000 in legal fees. And he's calling out the court basically for allowing what he says parents to be given thousands of dollars in child support and alimony, but we don't know where the money is being allocated. And then he had this to add.
Whoever you with, whoever you I feel bad for them because on some man-to-man go get what you there to get. But real salute. These are looking at all these interviews and videos and they know exactly who the you are. There's so many people that know her, my ex, know me, know the truth about what actually happened, what's been going on. And they at home quiet as a church mouse. They much rather have me out here acting as if I'm going above and beyond to try and expose. It's like, you know what the happened. You know what's going on. You know who she is or who we all believe she was. You see what these intent. You see what's going on. You see that she's online, been taking shots at me and my baby Zelly. She called Zelly a Jezebel. She been coming at Zelly so crazy. Like you Jesus 1 minute and Jezebel the next, and Zelly never asked to be here. Zelly was out living her best life. I was a very married man with a whole family. Don't club, don't party, don't go out, don't do shit. If I ever leave my house, very intentional. Zelly never asked to be here. Say what you want to say about this woman. We had a whole situation that had nothing to do with nothing.
So listen.
So I'm going to be a tough act to follow.
Tyrese has a lot more to say. You know, basically he's saying, man, get yours if you get with his ex-wife, but you should already know that she ain't about that there. When we come forward, we will get more into that. I want to get a reaction from Bobby Newt, see what he has to say a little bit about all of this. You're locked into RSVP with Jill Munroe here on KBLA Talk 1580.
RSVP with Jill Munroe is your go-to show for staying in the know. More engaging conversation when we come forward on KBLA Talk 1580.
The Los Angeles Urban League helps African American and others in underserved communities achieve true social parity, economic self-reliance, and civil rights. For over 100 years, Los Angeles Urban League has ensured our communities have access to careers with living wages, opportunities to start and grow businesses, and clear pathways to personal and professional growth. Programs like BizCamp, Construction Career Academy, Bob Business Ready, and B-Warp. The Black Wealth Attainment and Retention Program are examples of the ongoing events designed to make our centennial mission to rebuild Black Wall Street right here in LA a reality. To sign up for our newsletter or to support the Los Angeles Urban League with your time, talents, and donations, visit laul.org. That's laul.org. The Los Angeles Urban League is a proud sponsor of Urban Family Focus, Saturdays at 7 a.m. on KBLA Talk 1580.
Joey from Vermont, a farmer trying to get through the winter. Adriana from South Carolina, a single mother living paycheck to paycheck. Liam from Ohio, an injured father struggling to provide for his family. Hi, I'm Shanola Hampton, and I support the Feeding America network of food banks because they help provide over 6 billion meals to people in need each year. Learn more at feedingamerica.org.
I'm getting vaccinated with Prevnar 20.
So am I, because I'm at risk for pneumococcal pneumonia.
If you're 19 or older with chronic conditions like asthma, diabetes, COPD, or heart disease, or are 65 or older, you are at increased risk for pneumococcal pneumonia. Ask your doctor or pharmacist about Prevnar 20, pneumococcal 20-valent conjugate vaccine. It can help protect you against pneumococcal pneumonia in just one dose. Even if you've already been vaccinated with other pneumonia vaccines, Prevnar 20 may help provide added protection. Prevnar 20 is approved for adults to help prevent infections from 20 strains of the bacteria that cause pneumococcal pneumonia. Continued approval may depend on a supportive study. Don't get Prevnar 20 if you've had a severe allergic reaction to the vaccine or its ingredients. Adults with weakened immune systems may have a lower response to the vaccine. Side effects include pain and swelling at the injection site, fatigue, headache, muscle, and joint pain. For full prescribing information, please call 1-855-213-2138 or visit Prevnar20.com.
Dominique DePrima for KBLA Talk 1580. Are you worried about your credit score? Well, look, you can rebuild it. There are lots of factors that go into determining your credit score, but one of the most effective ways to improve your score is to consistently pay your bills on time, over time. If you're forgetful about payments like me, try automating your bill payments. That way all your creditors get paid on time and you'll have freed yourself of trying to remember. Whatever your financial goals, U.S. Bank Access Commitment Initiatives can help support you in reaching them. Access your financial goals at usbank.com/access. Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
Now back to more captivating conversation on RSVP with Jill Munroe.
Ladies, this your song. From Miami to the Bay. Ladies, this your song. I'm calling out all the girls in the club tonight. Yeah. Put your hands in there if you gon' let her play your card. I beat it up.
Shout out to the new dynasty. Goes deep. That's Jay Valentine, Bobby's younger brother, the Neutrons. You were locked into RSVP with Jill Munroe here on KBLA Talk 1580. Bobby, so I'm going to say first, I think that Tyrese needs to recognize that he might be part of the problem. He might have some valid points, but this conversation sounds strangely like the conversation that went down with his older daughter's mother. Sounds a lot like the shade and the salt that he threw on the older daughter's mother after the fact because he moved her here from London. So, I don't know. I would just say, Tyrese, maybe, things aren't going your way in this situation, but the internet is not your friend in this, and you should know that. You said you were tired of being a meme. You said, they were talking about your shoes that time that you wore to Power 106. They said they looked like Ninja Turtle shoes. They talked about you crying. You talk about the internet getting at you, but yet you still give them material. We'll take it. I don't know. What type of advice do you have for your friend Tyrese?
Man, get off the internet. So how long you think it's been around? Whether it be Facebook, Twitter, like whatever it is.
20 plus years.
I ain't never went on there not one time and said, or did subliminal tweets
And you could have, because you got a lot of kids and a lot of baby mamas.
My whole thing with that is it's like, to me, that's female. Like, I don't.
Hey, don't blame women.
Like, bro, what are you doing? Like, I don't, you know what I mean? Like, just to me, anybody, why are you airing your feelings out in front of everybody? Like, whatever that is, keep that private. Don't nobody need to know all that, bro.
Attention is a drug.
Yeah, like, stop. Yeah, whether good or bad. So, my advice to him is, bro, stop. Like, get off of there. Like, go silent. Like, let whatever's going to happen, you know what I'm saying, run its course. But
I think he would find, too, that his fans would appreciate him more if he did that in some instances.
Well, also, it talks about, if we're going to go biblical, which, I always do, it talks about being a peacemaker, right? Blessed is the peacemaker. That's what I would tell my brother. Like, listen, bro, whatever's going on between you and old girl, like, you should be the peacemaker. You have to be, if you're talking about Christ, if you're in Christ, get the balance back. Like, figure out how to, you guys got to raise that baby. There should be, you know what I'm saying? It should be amicable. It It should be a safe space. You know what I mean? Not
how
this
long did it take you
messy
to get to that
love
point,
and
though?
hip hop. Oh,
right. But how long did it take you to get to that point as a man? Because as you said, you have a lot of children, a lot of women in the mix. So how did you get to the point that you could, deal with that? Because there are going to be struggles and challenges in that.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think as you get older, I'm almost 50 at this point. So, but as you get older and as you get more mature and as you start to realize that it's my flesh raising up, and that's what has me doing all this crazy stuff, you're feeding one of two things every day. You're either feeding your flesh or you're feeding your spirit. It's a war going on within you every single day. What this stuff that he's doing is of the flesh, because it has to do with ego and pride. Anything that has to do with your ego, oh, she did this, that person did that, it offended me this way. It's all a me, I'm the victim type thing. That all has to do with your flesh, because you're offended in some kind of way.
Exactly.
But if you handle these things in the spirit, then it's not about self anymore. It's about being an example of Christ, which I just said, blessed is the peacemaker. So you got to be trying to make peace. But problem is, the line is, it's gray. It's not black or white. A lot of people, it's hard to be black or white, especially spiritually.
Absolutely.
Especially being famous, being,
in the
being rich,
industry.
being power, and all these things.
And being entering in the
It's
industry
hard.
at a relatively young age.
It's really hard.
Well, I want to thank you for rocking out with us tonight on RSVP with Jill Munroe. Tell them one more time where they can find you, where they can find all your music.
So it's Bobby Newt Music on Facebook, Bobby Newt 74 on Instagram. Follow me if you want to, get some more Jesus, because that's what I'm all about for sure, and my family. And it's on Spotify. Go follow me on. It's Bobby Newt. Apple. It's on I'm on every platform as far as that. You can go see my videos, Bobby Newt. I have some videos up, and like I said, I got a ton of new music coming. Me and my brother eventually, hopefully, we're gonna come together and finish this whole, our life story with my dad, and but from our eyes.
Okay. Documentary, we need to see that.
It's gonna be a movie or a
movie.
series, or
okay.
I mean, probably, we don't know yet because it's so much. It's so
many things to do.
It's so much.
And your daughter's foundation, Love Ronnie Simone.
Love Ronnie Simone, yes.
Tap into that. You can keep up with updates of her and how she is doing. Thank you again for rocking with us. You guys, as always, VIPs have been amazing. Thank you so much in the chat. Tomorrow, we have Trent the artist clocking in, our weekly contributor. We will have there were 2 interviews that we were supposed to get into tonight. We'll have them tomorrow. One with Jann Mardenbourgh. He is a British race car driver. The movie Gran Turismo is based off of his life. And we'll have an interview with Corey Hawkins. So thank you for rocking with us. When we come forward, you will be checking out the best of KBLA. This is Jill Munroe. You have been checking out RSVP with Jill Munroe on KBLA Talk 1580.
Oh, yeah. I come back one day. Keep getting stuck and it's like I'm on replay. But you keep coming through for me with no delay. I'll make time and space, give it all for ya. 'Cause with your love, pull me closer and it keeps going. All that I need, make me complete, and now I know it. When you're around now, light up, and I don't mind giving my time up. I won't ignore your signs, leave all the doubt behind. I don't need fortune or the power, don't need fame or $1 million.
KBLA 1580 Santa Monica.